Hi, welcome. My name's Amanda. I'm a coach and a trance channel, and welcome to this weekly episode of Guided by Spirit. Every single Monday, I've been coming live on YouTube to channel a guided meditation and somatic experience. And what this is I give you an opportunity to close your eyes and get comfortable. And I take you on a little journey. And every week it's a little bit different, but the ultimate goal and purpose behind these experiences is to help you get acquainted with you, helping you start to insource where we've been always taught to look outside of ourselves and understand how to go inside, right to your center, right to your energetic core to access everything that you could possibly need. Answers, wisdom, guidance, a connection to your highest self, a connection to your loved ones on the other side, a connection to any sort of higher consciousness that you've been wanting to be able to communicate with. Also, perspective, having the awareness of what is possible for you, all of the potential that's accessible for you, but that's only ever witnessed and truly observed and felt inside of you. Or if you're looking to just shift an experience, if you're feeling something heavy or challenging in this present moment, the only way to truly shift that experience from the inside out is going directly to the source and learning where that feeling is coming from, what it's trying to tell you, what it's trying to teach you, and what to give that part of you so that it's satisfied, so that you don't have to keep running from it or avoiding it or trying to figure out what outside of you is required to fix it or change it in order to shift that experience. I've noticed inside of my own spiritual journey that growing up, we are always taught to outsource our personal power and our sense of self trust and everything that we could possibly need and want, and to go outside of ourselves to find it. And when I entered inside of the spiritual space, I started to notice that same paradigm being reflected, where there's always something that we need to be searching for or trying to figure out in order to access a place of peace, understanding, or having a level of clarity or information that sometimes when we enter into the spiritual space, we are met with so much new information that it sort of disrupts what we were led to believe was true. And then all of a sudden we have these newfound belief systems, and it's a lot to sort through. And having to constantly go looking for it is just reinforcing the very notion that we still don't fully believe that what we have inside of us is enough or accessible or something that we can trust and believe in. And so these experiences are meant to help reframe that for you, help you come back to yourself, come back to everything that you need, which is all inside of you, and placing the personal power and responsibility inside of you to go there to get it. So, the way this works is I'm going to give you an opportunity to get quiet, comfortable. Then I'm going to close my eyes and start channeling spirit. And the way this typically works for me is they show me an image of some kind, and that image acts as a metaphor. And that metaphor slowly evolves over time inside of whatever it is they want to take you through. And all of these experiences are designed for you specifically. So if you're feeling called to watch this, if there's some sort of intrigue or interest inside of what this experience might hold for you, if you felt a little nudge to click on this video, I want you to know that there's something here for you. There's something that you've been calling in or trying to ask for help with or assistance with. And this video is going to serve you on so many different levels. And you might be surprised with what insight and awareness comes through when you create this space to receive it. So before we start, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to tune into spirit and see if there's anything they want to add before we really jump in. So just give me a sec. So they're just saying, feel what's here and see what can open up for you when you allow what's here to be felt and fully allowed. And once that allowing takes place, what's here, if it's uncomfortable, if it's doubtful, if it's frustrating, or if there's uncertainty around it, it starts to dissipate. And then once it dissipates, all of this clarity can come through. But the first step is allowance. And you have to get comfortable with letting that be the first part of this experience. Hey, Adam. Adam from a different account. Thank you so much for popping in, Adam. Ciao. Okay, anything else you want to say before we get started? Allowance is kind of an activity of grounding, and we're constantly told to ground, or the importance of grounding, but what grounding really means, or what it really looks like, is feeling comfortable existing inside of who you are. When you feel grounded, you feel comfortable being you. You feel grounded inside of your sense of self. And so this is going to be an activity of understanding what that really requires and what that really feels like. Because without realizing it, so many of us do not feel comfortable inside of who we are. And ironically enough, the spiritual space often discusses the concept of ascension, which or healing, right? Which oftentimes unconsciously sets the precedent that we're supposed to outdo who we are, escape who we are, outgrow who we are, fix or change who we are, and ascend out of who we are. And what Spirit wants you to know today is we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be grounding more firmly inside of who we are so that we can begin to love and accept who we are. And it is through that love and acceptance that we can access the full expression of who we are and everything that's available inside of that. Okay, so this is your opportunity now to get comfortable. I want you to find a place where you can close your eyes, where you're not going to be distracted, where you can be really comfortable to fully experience this. You can put some music on in the background if you'd like. Um, as long as you can hear my voice a little bit on top of that. And you're welcome to also have a pen or a piece of paper or your phone notepad open nearby, just in case you want to jot down anything at the end of this experience, because oftentimes when we give ourselves space to be, insight comes through, clarity comes through. And there might be a part of this experience that invites that in consciously. And sometimes it's easily forgotten when we don't write it down right away because you're channeling it. It's coming from a higher frequency inside of you that isn't as readily available, and so the information can slip through quickly. And so it's just an option in case you want to have the ability to do that. They're telling me I'm talking too much. Okay. I want you to take a big deep breath. Once you're comfortable where you are, take a big deep breath in through your nose and exhale slowly and deeply all of the air from your lungs, just fully exhaling it all out of your system. And take another big deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs with air, allowing your belly to expand. And fully exhaling. And as you exhale, just notice all of the tension that you are holding, that you are now allowing to dissipate. Just having the awareness of everything that was there that is now being given an opportunity to be let go of. And one more time, big deep breath in, filling your lungs with air, allowing your belly to expand. And slowly exhaling, just letting all of the tension and frustration and exhaustion and anxiousness from the day just fully release from the system. And just lie here, coming back to a normal breathing. Just becoming aware of what this energy feels like. And having the awareness of any residual anxiousness that might be present. Anxiousness that maybe you were slightly aware of, but now that you've been given an opportunity to inhale and exhale, you're noticing that maybe it's difficult to exhale all of the tension and that some of it is lingering. And maybe it's tension that is always lingering. And it's tension that you're carrying day in and day out that never fully releases. And there's always this need to run from it without even really realizing that that's what's happening. But as you're moving throughout your day, there's a need to feel a relief from that tension, and that maybe everything you're doing in life, in your day to day activities, is an attempt to get rid of it, hoping that once you're on the other side of that task or activity, you'll feel relief or a moment of reprieve before it comes back. And it's this cat and mouse game almost of running from this heavy, stressed, anxious, tense feeling, but never feeling like you're fully free from it. And if that's true for you, just allowing the recognition of that to be here. And if that feels a little bit heavier than what you're feeling in this moment, I want you to recognize that too. Recognize the ability to open to relief, to open to peace, and to allow your system to fully relax, and how easily it was accessed, and how often you take the time to access it, even though it's a wonderful feeling. And just being here inside of this energy with you. And spirit is just calling your attention to this anxiousness, this heaviness, this stress, this tension that's here, because it is. And there's no point in ignoring the fact that you carry that, because ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It just fuels and exacerbates the cycle of doing to escape, and adding more onto your plate and more into your life in an attempt to relieve yourself from the tension that you're feeling. But the more that you add, and the more that you run, or the faster that you chase, and the more that you build on inside of your existence, the tension follows you. And maybe it ebbs and flows, but it never fully dissipates unless you allow yourself an opportunity to breathe through it. And that's what we're going to do right now. You're giving yourself an opportunity to recognize the tension that's here, the tension that follows you day in and day out, that's been trying to remind you of what you're looking for, which is permission to feel differently inside of who you are and to build a life from that frequency. Because ultimately, isn't that what you're looking for? An opportunity to feel free to just be, to just live your life in a peaceful knowing that you're exactly who you want to be and where you want to be. And even if it's not 100% ideal, there's still peace to be found in the now moment. And you can still pursue a goal without the goal being the escape from the now. Just allowing the goal to be an extension of what's here and an exemplification of more of what's wanted, because what's wanted is what's allowed, and what's allowed is who you are. And so they just want to reflect back to you that it's not about letting go of your wants, your needs, your goals, and your desires. It's about perceiving them through a different lens. And that is the lens of, I can have what I want in my mind's eye and also enjoy what's here. I can have both at the same time. It doesn't have to be a giving up of the peace in the now moment to pursue a peace in the future potential, because there is no future potential. There's only the now. And it is only the now that follows you from one now to the next. And if you don't allow peace in the now, then what makes you think you're going to allow peace in the then and there either? Because the then and there is simply the now and the next now. And so what's needed is your reminder of how to allow that in, how to feel the peace in the now moment and allow that to guide you forward, because all it's going to guide you towards is more of what's here. And if what's here is peace, love, and acceptance, then what you're going to find in a future potential is that much more of the same. Because all we ever find in a future potential is an exemplification of what we allow to be here. And what we allow to be here is everything that we give ourselves permission to be. And when there's a part of you that's not allowed to be, then you're constantly going to be living in an attempt to run from that and chase something different. But there is nothing other than what's within you, because what's within you is what you create every minute of every second of every day. So in this exercise, we're going to learn how to create something new by allowing what's here. And so we're going to come back into the awareness of the tension that's here and the desire to escape it. And we're just going to breathe as we think about the things in our life that create that feeling of tension. Whatever situations you are currently facing in your day-to-day reality that feel stressful, that you wish were different, or that you could somehow bypass or figure out a way to create ease inside of. And we're just going to allow that situation to come top of mind so that we can begin to really become accustomed to what that situation evokes. The pain, the frustration, the aggravation, feeling unseen, feeling unheard, feeling unsafe, feeling misunderstood, feeling stuck. And just breathing through that acknowledgement of what you have been so innocently trying to escape. It's this feeling that lingers. And we're just going to allow that feeling to linger now. And what you're going to find is when you allow that feeling to linger, it softens. And we're going to witness what that's like right now. In your mind's eye, I just want you to come to your heart center and have your beating heart inside of your awareness. This beating heart is a partner inside of your life that we have revisited inside of many of these weekly experiences. And we're going to come back to this partner right now, just feeling them beating softly in your chest, having gratitude for their presence, having gratitude for their constant reminder of the desire to continue to be here with you, alongside you, leading you, and in constant and continual partnership with you. And just feeling so much gratitude for that beating heart. Because without it, this feeling of tension doesn't really matter anymore, because there's nothing left. You can't exist without this beating heart. So the idea that this beating heart stops beating then feels a lot scarier than the tension that's here. The tension is so minute in comparison to the idea that your beating heart would ever stop. And I just want you to hold that contrast right now. This tension from whatever it's being created in your life, alongside the notion that your heart could stop beating or may one day stop beating. And the fear that might bring up, the uncertainty that might bring up, the doubt that might bring up, the conflicting emotions inside of that idea. And just feeling the difference in those thoughts. Does the tension from my day to day feel as challenging next to the notion that this beautiful beating heart could choose one day not to beat anymore? And where that would leave whatever situation brought up this tension. Would it fall to the back burner? Would it no longer be as important? And what perspective that offers you. Do you see a way through this situation that's creating this tension at the idea that one day your heart could say, I've had enough? And in the prospect of that, how would you approach this situation that's creating this tension? Do you just walk away? Does it just feel trivial? Do you just muster up the courage to say exactly what it is that's on your mind that you've been holding back from? Do you just let go of the stress and the tension that it creates because it just doesn't feel important anymore? And I just want you to notice what you choose and how easy it is to let that tension subside when your priority becomes making sure that your beating heart beats on. And just allowing this beating heart to guide you, to remind you of what's important, to remind you of the perspective that's available for you, and to remind you of what your truth is, of what it is that you really want to do or really want to say if there don't seem to be consequences. And I just want that truth to be really front and center here. Because as soon as you had the idea that your beating heart would stop, how you were going to approach this situation that was creating this tension became quite clear. And so you know exactly what you want to do to relieve that tension. And you know exactly what it would feel like to walk away from it, to just let it go. And so this is just an example of what's required in order to do that. And of how much this tension is coming from a part of you that doesn't feel capable of walking away from it, of trusting your own wisdom with it, or of choosing to be free from it. There's a part of you that doesn't feel like you're capable of making those decisions or those choices, that there's going to be ramifications if you did. But in the worst case scenario, you would do it anyway. And perhaps there would be freedom on the other side of that. And I just want you to take that in right now. If there were no ramifications for the choice that you would make to relieve yourself from this tension, what it would feel like to choose that. And I want you to identify what it feels like in your body. You did the thing, and the situation that's evoking this tension is no longer in your life. And I want you to feel what that feels like as the tension ebbs away. Does it ebb away? Are you still holding it somewhere? This is just a situation in the mind. We're just playing with what it feels like to allow tension to dissipate simply by choosing to. And coming to the center of your heart once more, just feeling the relief that's there, even just a little bit, even just a small, minute amount that's different from the tension that existed before or the tension that's often felt in your life. That you were able to access in this moment, just inside of the idea of what it could be like to let it go. So, nothing in your life has changed other than choosing the feeling of relief. And just breathing into that knowing, feeling what that feels like in your gut when the tension is given just a sliver of opportunity to ebb away. This is simply the power of choice. And the availability of that choice is here. And the message for you today is a reminder that the experiences that we have come from the willingness to allow them. And sometimes the only thing that's needed is an opportunity to get still and imagine what it could be like to feel the experience that we're searching for. And the more we come back to that, the more we find the availability of it, and the more easily accessible it becomes. And the more we learn how to let it in. And the more we choose to let it in, the more it stays. And the longer it stays, the longer it becomes our new state of being. So this experience was just an opportunity to demonstrate one way in. One small, simple way that you can begin to feel the freedom from the tension that's here. It can be as simple as imagining a scenario that would allow it and feeling that relief flow through and basking in it, enjoying it, and allowing it to highlight where you haven't been willing to choose it. And then giving yourself a reminder that the choice to come back to it is always here. And if you were to continue to foster that new relationship with freedom, with peace, with relief inside of you, what would that truly do for you? Well, it would create a sanctuary within. It would foster a sense of trust from within you that any time you come face to face with a scenario that feels overwhelmingly exhausting, challenging, frustrating, or resentful or resistant, you have the key inside of you to create a different experience within. And once you can begin to trust that connection, you can begin to find new keys alongside the first. What else is here? What else? What other door can I open? What other feeling can I access? What other truth can I bring to the surface? And what other opportunities are available for me when I go exploring within me to find them? And soon you begin to. You begin to see that there's a whole world of opportunity inside of you to shift and change every single experience of you. And in time, that becomes the new you. And you move forward in this world feeling completely different because you know how to access those experiences anytime you want to. And those experiences become the new precedent for how you want to navigate this world. So, the lesson for today is to trust your ability to guide you there. If there's something in your life that's creating confusion, frustration, or extreme tension, perhaps the first thing to do is create a space to access relief. And then once that relief is found, what other observations can be accessed? What other avenues have you not been able to see through this situation because you've been so focused on feeling the tension and trying to overcome it? But maybe what you're looking for can't be found inside of that dynamic. Maybe what you're looking for can only be realized once you choose relief first. And if we were to come back to you and remind you of what that relief feels like in this moment, maybe it was a small letting go in your gut. Maybe it was a very gentle ease in your chest. Maybe it was a recognition of what it is that you want to say and finding the confidence to say it. I want you to focus on that feeling of what it felt like when you noticed relief coming in. And simply being here, welcoming more of it. Telling your system, telling your energy body that relief is welcome. And the only way to find it is to allow the discomfort to surface so that you can see, bear witness to where the relief is found. Because the relief can only be found in witnessing and allowing the discomfort first. And in this moment, I want you to become aware of just how much discomfort has been guiding you. All of the decisions in your life, all of the choices that you've made, have they come from a place of wanting to foster relief? Or have they come from a place of running from tension, of overcoming tension, of trying to do away with tension? And now you see that the only way relief is found is by welcoming the tension and asking yourself, what would be required of me to feel relief inside? And slowly, slowly, allowing every single thought that brings tension come to the surface, to be recognized, to be welcomed, and to guide you towards the peace that you've been searching for. The tension is going to be your guiding light towards the peace you've been seeking. But you have to be willing to let it come forward, to be felt, held, acknowledged, and accepted first. And I just want you to hold the notion of all of the different ways that the very person that you are creates tension, creates conflict, and creates discomfort, and all of the opportunities for relief that it presents, and just how much tension you've been truly carrying, and the exciting idea that there's that much more relief to be found. In this moment, Spirit is just wanting you to take note of what's really required What's truly required of you to create a life that feels easeful. Because what's required is facing the tension that's here and choosing something different. And once you begin to foster trust inside of the notion that you have these choices, you will begin to make more of them. And every single choice you make will lend itself to the idea that there's a choice inside of that option. And there's so many more choices available for you that you may not have been privy to. But once you begin to see that life is nothing but choices, then you begin to recognize the choices that you most often pick and the more uncomfortable choices that have been available for you that you haven't been willing to choose until now. And where inside of this idea of who you are is there an available choice of peace where you haven't been able to let that in? What about you, what thought, what idea brings up tension, discomfort, sadness, frustration, where there's an opportunity to choose peace instead? What about who you are do you wish was different? And how could choosing to allow that part of you welcome in relief? What if you imagined that idea of you, that part of you that creates tension, to be here always, that there was no way to rid yourself from it? And if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that you could not outrun, fix, change, or alter that aspect of you, how long would you allow the frustration of that to be here? Would you let it bother you every minute of every day? Or would you see that there's the choice for something different? And that sometimes all that's needed is the desire to. Because eventually the frustration weighs on you. And all that you're wanting is to feel the peace. What could it be like to choose that peace now? Knowing that this part of you could never change, just inside of this imagination. If we could imagine that this part of you cannot ever be changed, is it possible to accept that? And what could it be like to choose to do so? What could it be like to choose peace, to choose freedom from the tension that that part of you creates in the desire to change it? Is it that part of you that's creating the tension, or is it the rush to change it that is? The attempts of fixing it, changing it, running from it, and not being successful. Feeling like you're failing over and over again, and feeling like you're constantly having to try something new. What if you didn't have to try anymore? What if you could just let that be what it is and the relief that the idea of that offers you. And just letting that sink in. A surrender. The idea of surrender with a very small moment of relief. Is it possible to surrender to the idea that you don't have to change it, even though you desire to, and that the desire to can come from a feeling of surrender too, and that you don't have to feel tension while you move towards a future potential of peace, because the peace is here and what that feels like to let it in now. This is an experience today of simply offering you perspectives. Perspectives of how to allow in a feeling that you didn't realize was missing or wanted, and that it's possible to move through life chasing something and coming back to small pockets of time to access the relief that's needed to chase from a feeling of peace. Because what's possible can only be accessed inside of your willingness to choose to believe that it's true. And if fixing who you are, changing who you are, altering who you are is what's wanted, then the only way to access the relief inside of the idea of that potential is to feel it here first. And that means no longer chasing, no longer running, but moving with intention. Feeling the calling from within you, guiding you through, showing you the path towards what's wanted, and allowing that path to materialize through the frequency that it evokes. Just take a big deep breath in through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Anything that you desire in this world can only fully and truly be accessed inside of the willingness to experience it within you first. The notion that you can ever feel differently about who you are can only truly ever be realized if you give yourself permission to feel it, to fully experience it. And if fixing and changing who you are is something that's calling to you, the relief on the other side of that will only be accessed inside of your willingness to choose it then too. And so fostering this relationship inside of you of choosing that over and over again is going to show you the how. It's going to guide you there. And maybe in time, it'll be something that's not even really desired in the same way. But if it is, it'll feel different. Very slowly, I want you to get out a pad of paper and a pen, and I want you to write down one thing in your life that's been creating tension, frustration, challenges, struggle, and strife. And ask yourself what it is that you've been trying to relieve yourself from inside of that situation. What about that situation feels challenging to you? And what would it feel like to no longer have to carry it in the same way? And they want you to use that situation as your next practice with this. The next time you feel that situation bubbling up inside of you, coming back to a quiet place, getting really comfortable, and visualizing that situation unfolding for you. And then recognizing what it would feel like to walk away, to say what you feel, to surrender, to let it go, and feeling that feeling of relief trickle in. And in time, with practice, consistency, and dedication, you no longer will need to, because the peace that you're looking for will be here inside of you always. Taking as long as you need to write that down, giving thanks to your beating heart for being here and supporting you throughout this experience, being grateful to your own energy for taking the time to explore this fully, and being open to whatever insight comes through moving forward. Thank you so much for your time with this experience today. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear from you below, leaving a comment. What about this experience created new insight or awareness for you? Maybe you have questions about it. Maybe something felt a little bit unclear. Whatever it is, I would love to hear it. So feel free to comment below or private message me on Instagram, or you can even email me through my website, amandalaurenblau.com. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Please subscribe to this channel for more. And I will see you next week in next episode of Guided by Spirit. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.